In a recent interview, while I was presenting some scientific discoveries that may point to the existence of God,
God came down and said, "Hey buddy, don't worry about it. Since I exist and all, I decided this never-ending game of hide and seek was kind of a silly thing to do, considering I definitely totally want people to know I am real. So I decided to actually, turn up for once in my me-damned life. Atheism defeated forever, science made pointless by the magic man, and all the religious apologists stood hand in hand smugly singing about what a bunch of correct smart guys they are."
a camera operator, a young woman whom I'll call Maria, began to weep visibly.
Oh wait, that didn't happen? What a shock! In fact, apparently your supposed scientific evidence of God was so bad, it caused people to weep uncontrollably. Because let's be fair, if you're in a studio and someone behind a camera is weeping visibly, they must be full on ugly crying, like I do when I can't find my favourite cup. You can tell it's mine by the whiskey inside it and the Batman logo outside it. No, I'm not joking, obviously.
Later she told me the reason for her tears.
Is it that she was just as imaginary as your God? I mean, you guys always have stories about this person or that you met one time that did a thing that proves your point. But somehow, you never, ever, ever present these people. I guess if you're used to dealing with one imaginary friend, then more of them is not that much of a stretch, really.
Like many young people, Maria believed in God when she arrived in college. But while there, she repeatedly encountered professors.
She encountered professors at college? That can't be right. College is supposed to be full of various animals in cages that taught me everything I needed to know about love, life, and throwing poop at tourists. And now that I think about it, that was a zoo, wasn't it? Explains why all those jobs didn't accept my applications written in dung.
Who insisted that based on the science, God was a myth.
Did they? That's an odd thing to say, because based on the science, God is actually an untestable, unfalsifiable idea. Not that it's a myth. That would be a really stupid way to put it. The kind of way that a professor played by, I don't know off the top of my head, Kevin Sorbo, how they might say it. And we all know how disappointing that guy is.
No more real than Santa Claus. Maria didn't feel equipped to challenge her professors.
Oh, we all know that she already had everything that she could possibly ever acquire for the argumentation for God. It goes, but God real though, me and feel it, and then walk away, knowing you've done everything needed to prove your position, because they can't disprove your feelings, not realising, of course, that your feelings also don't prove anything other than you had them. Also, Santa's not real? Then how do you explain the Santa corpse on my roof? Look, don't go sneaking around on other people's houses and expect not to get caught in a man trap. Or I guess it's a Santa trap at this point.
She eventually left college with nagging doubts about her faith and wondered whether life, including her own life, might be nothing more than a cosmic accident.
I mean, it is a cosmic accident, that's true, but that doesn't make it any less special if that's something you need to get through your day, because cosmic is a big word, not necessarily a long one, but it means massive. Bigger than you, bigger than the country you reside in, bigger than the planet it exists on, bigger than the sun or the solar system that it maintains by being so big. It's bigger than everything, and in that ridiculously massive thing of infinite possibilities, you happened, as unlikely an event as that was. And that's got to mean something, no matter how insignificantly pointless you all are.
Many young people share Maria's doubts.
Good. They should doubt things that have absolutely no empirical evidence supporting them. That's like the default position you should take on any claim that someone cannot support without appeals to emotion or some bullshit logical fallacy. And I'm glad to hear more of the youngs are doing that. That makes me happy.
Indeed, powerful voices in the academy tell us that science makes belief in God and human significance untenable.
Wait, what? Those two things aren't the same thing. Now, okay, so human existence/significance is untenable, to me at least. The most important opinion on that matter, I think you will all agree or be wrong about, but human existence to the humans themselves is anything but insignificant, and their significance to the world they live in is objectively demonstrable, at least in the short term, which, considering the brief nature of their existence, is the only one that matters. And considering that fact, humans can have massive impacts on the world and people around them, and anyone telling you that a lack of a god impacts supports that even remotely is definitely trying to sell you something.
Or as Richard Dawkins, the famed atheist from Oxford, has asserted, the universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference.
And what exactly is wrong with that statement? Where's the big glowing billboard in space that God put up that says, "Don't worry, my little science project. I totally made you and totally have a plan for you that goes thusly," followed by said plan in explicit detail. Because that's what I would expect to see from an actually existing God that wanted, nay, demanded that everyone know who he is and to do what he says. Not some book with a bunch of nonsense in it that makes literally no sense. That's the kind of shit I would pull if I wanted no one to know anything about me. Or, I just didn't exist.
But are we the product of such indifference? That is, purely materialistic processes that did not have us in mind, as another scientific atheist has put it?
In all probability, yes. I'm sorry that makes you do the big sad, but really, why do you so desperately need to be created, or made with purpose, or whatever other shit that your sort seems so obsessed with? What would you do if there was objective proof, if such a thing could exist, that there absolutely is no God? What would that actually change about your day-to-day existence? Very little, I posit. And it would likely free up the weekends for all that sinning you lot always seem so desperate to do. But you're always like, thank goodness I would get told off if I did any of it, because I'm a barely bubbling over pot of degeneracy. Only one slight tip away from making everybody very, very sticky. Try a sock next time, it'll work wonders, I'm sure.
Does the universe have the properties we should expect if this all there is matter vision of reality is correct?
Well, it certainly seems to. There's a whole ton of nothing, and many bits that don't contain nothing. They contain mostly nothing. And then there's the places like Earth that contain human, so that's less than nothing. So yeah, if nothing made the universe, it is certainly representing itself quite nicely if you think about it like that. The clues were there all along, but you couldn't see them, because they're literally nothing. Just like God.
Perhaps not. 3 major scientific discoveries contradict the expectations of scientific atheists.
Okay, so this scientific atheist thing is not a term I have heard before, but I kinda like it. It at least distinguishes just plain, me am not believing you clams, to me am not believing you clams. Also, science does are cool though. Although, I'm not sure what difference that makes, because again, saying anything other than God is not a scientific claim is pretty meaningless. So it's not like the term has any value. Although I have a funny feeling you already knew that.
And point instead in a distinctly God-friendly direction.
Right, so you said
3 major scientific discoveries contradict the expectations.
So what could those 3 scientific discoveries be, and how is your demonstration of them not the same shit we have been talking about and dunking on in epic fashion for years and years and years? I think unless one of these scientifics is the location of God's giant golden throne, then I seriously doubt you are about to show us anything that is God-friendly. And yes, by throne I do mean toilet. What, do you think I'm a grown-up?
First, the Big Bang.
Oh, god damn it, we're already off to an abysmal start, aren't we? Like, seriously, who can't guess where this is going and how it doesn't really sync up the way he's going to act like it does? Fine, just get on with it. I haven't got all day. Well, I do, but I want to go back to punching myself in the face. It's infinitely more rewarding.
Discoveries in observational astronomy and developments in theoretical physics have revealed that the universe had a beginning.
What the f***? No, seriously, he's presenting this like it isn't something we have known for what feels like frickin' forever. Yeah, the Big Bang Theory pertains to the universe having a starting point. I think you would struggle to find a person alive who hasn't heard of that. But I do suppose you might find someone who says it doesn't real, because they don't understand it, and then pretending that there's some new version that is the God-done-it version. That might trick them into thinking that you're making a point. But just so we are clear, you aren't.
This is contrary to the expectation of scientific materialists.
Oh, come on! This is the 3rd time in a row that you've made me exclaim. It's getting exhausting there, buddy. Stop saying silly things. What scientific materialists have that expectation? I mean, who has even had that expectation for at least 50 years, if not more? No one that anybody takes seriously would be my guess.
Who long portrayed the universe as eternal and self-existent, and therefore in no need of an external creator.
Long had said that, maybe, But that hardly matters when you put it up to what the scientific consensus is now. I mean, even how you said it demonstrates that you know they don't anymore. But for some reason, they're still under the impression that that doesn't change anything. Almost like it doesn't change anything. Just because this universe appears to have a beginning, A, that doesn't mean it was created, and B, that doesn't mean that there isn't some sort of meta-universe that is eternal, and bear in mind, that still doesn't demonstrate a god creature doing and exist.
This evidence for a beginning has instead confirmed the expectation of theists.
The expectation of theists is however the universe happened, even if it was a forever fella, it would have been done by Grandmaster OD. Because I know and you know that if it really, really looked like the universe was entirely static in an existence sense, your lot would be all like, hey look, books say God create universe as is, and universe is as is, therefore God. Me am the big clever boy.
Nobel laureate Arno Penzias helped make a key discovery establishing a cosmic beginning. He later observed, "The best data we have are exactly what I would have predicted, had I nothing to go on but the first 5 books of Moses and the Bible as a whole."
Really? Really? That's what he would have predicted? Assuming that he actually said and meant that, we all know how much you and yours enjoy a good ripe cherry to pick. But okay, he would have predicted that the maths breaks down and the cosmic microwave radiation exists just from reading the first few books of Moses. Oh yeah, I know, this is exactly what I think of when I think of things written in the Bible. Something basically incomprehensible to me. But at least this becomes comprehensible with the requisite knowledge. But the more you know about the Bible, the more gibberitic it becomes.
And he's not alone. Cosmological evidence has led other prominent scientists, including former MIT physicist Gerald Schroeder and the great Caltech astronomer Alan Sandage, to affirm a transcendent creator beyond space and time as the best explanation for the origin of our finite universe.
Okay, so as much as my goblin brain hated doing that, I had to let that play out so I could say, so f***ing what? I don't know if you know this about science, right? But a couple of guys saying, this am what the science mean 'cause me smart, doesn't actually become the actual science. Because science isn't decided based on some random dudes, no matter their qualification. Lots of pioneers in science have also believed some really stupid shit. That stuff doesn't become fact because they affirmed it or whatever. We just ignore their biased conclusions and listen to them when they actually, do some f***ing science.
Second, fine-tuning.
Oh, what a surprise! I mean, that's not even a scientific discovery, that's just really, really bad argumentation. But go ahead, tell us how the universe is fine-tuned for life, and I'll tell you how you are fine-tuned for being a colossal dipshit.
We live in what Australian physicist Luke Barnes calls an extremely fortunate universe, where fundamental laws and physical parameters have somehow been fine-tuned with just the right strengths and values to make life possible.
Right, you know what? There is some quote-unquote fine-tuning going on in that situation, in a sense. Unfortunately, you and your best mate here have got it flipped upside down. Because actually the universe isn't fine-tuned for life. Life, as we know it, is fine-tuned to fit in the universe. But not by any supernatural means, cough, evolution, cough, cough, but because the universe is how it is, and life, again, as we know it, was able to start doing its thing despite the universe's constant attempts to prevent that from happening. And life got so good at continued existence, it looks like the universe was made for it. If you're not very thinky about it. Basically, of course the universe is suitable enough for life, otherwise you wouldn't be here saying that, would you?
The incredible odds against this happening by chance has led even agnostic and atheistic physicists to marvel.
Ah, the odds, of course. What do they say? There are lies, damned lies, and statistics. Because you can make statistics like, say, the quote-unquote odds of something happening. Say whatever it is you want them to say, even if they don't actually say that. But, well, even if the odds are small that it could happen on its own, it could happen on its own, because it literally did.
As British physicist Paul Davies has exclaimed, the impression of design is overwhelming.
And I would say that the impression of an empty, godless universe is just as overwhelming, if not more. I mean, we already discussed how the appearance of design is merely an illusion based on your presupposition that God did it. But when you presuppose nothing and look out at the universe, well, that's exactly what you see. A big, mostly empty universe. It's like a Ubisoft sandbox game.
Atheist physicist George Greenstein expresses similar cognitive dissonance. The thought insistently arises that some supernatural agency must be involved.
It's really weird that the only places I can find that quoted out of its proper context, obviously, are various religious and, of course, creationist sources. Would love to see what the rest of that said, but that would be asking too much for y'all to be, like, intellectually honest. Can't have that. Oh, by the way, this a pic of you, mate.
Third, the complexity of life.
Ew, this is turning into creationist shit. No, we have a full and complete explanation for the origin of the complexity of life, and you are not for 1 second going to hand-wave evolution just so you can pretend to have any god did it in here. No, sir, not gonna happen. Now, f*** off. Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the